You in just about a little over a year.
All right, year and a half.
And I saw you December 2019, and saw you in recital at 2020.
February.
And here we are, a year after everything has been closed down, and you make a big announcement. So, tell me about your new position.
Well, I'm delighted to announce that I have been offered a position as Dean of the School of Music at Stetson University in DeLand, Florida. It's in between Daytona Beach and Orlando. Beautiful area, beautiful campus, beautiful weather, beautiful community, and an excellent degree of, excellent level of arts and entertainment and everything. It's just a beautiful part of the country.
And as we were briefly talking, I'm sure you're going to miss the Omaha weather.
100%. Actually, you know what? I will miss the Four Seasons. I lived in Baltimore for 10 years before I moved to Texas.
Yeah.
And I did miss the Four Seasons. You know, it was fine going to Texas, so I went from cold to warm to cold, and I guess warm is attracting me again. But I am going to miss the weather here. It's beautiful just in the springs to see how, the color starts to come again, and in the fall when the color changes. As an artist, actually, it's quite inspirational.
That's true, and then winter comes and it's eternally gray. You've been here 4 years?
I have been in Omaha for a little over 5 years.
5 years.
I moved to Omaha on December 2015. So I've been here for about 5 years and 3-4 months or something like that.
You had a tremendous impact on the university as well as the community. When you leave here and you look back, what do you think is going to be your greatest accomplishment here in Omaha?
William, let me start by saying that I think it goes both ways. In fact, probably the other way is stronger. The impact that UNO and Omaha has had on me has been huge. I am sad to leave. I'm very happy to move to my new position, my new family, but I am sad to leave. It's an emotional time because I have a family here. The community is my family in the university and also in the greater area. I feel a better person. I feel a better leader. I feel a better everything after my tenure here at UN Omaha. So in terms of the accomplishments, we had a vision of 10 years of what we were going to be doing. We accomplished it in 5. So it's mission accomplished. And what was that vision? First of all, we wanted to have state-of-the-art facilities. We did. We finished phase 1 on February 2019. And by the end of this semester, toward the end of April, beginning of May, we will finish phase 2, which is going to include a new entrance. We're going to have an additional music education classroom, an additional all-purpose classroom. We would have renovated many of our internal places as well, and floors, and improved the acoustics and equipment. So by the end of this project, we will have one of, if not the best music facility in the immediate region. So I'm delighted about that. We also had in our vision to increase faculty and staff positions, and we have. We have new full-time tenure track positions, as well as new full-time instructor positions. We increased our staff positions from 3 to 5. So we have got an operations manager, we have got a technology manager, and an operations assistant. So we've really done a great expansion also in terms of personnel. In regard to funding for scholarships, we used to be not competitive with our peers. And right now, we are in a great situation where we can offer really good scholarships to attract, to retain also students of the top quality. So we have made a huge improvement in that. In fact, recently we secured also $500,000 for scholarships last year, which we're using to award students coming to the new class. In terms of research and creative activity funding, we have quadrupled the amount of support that faculty and students receive in order to travel, to go to presenting conferences, to perform concerts, to do their own research. So these are some of the accomplishments that we have done in terms of School of Music. We have also started new projects, new initiatives, such as the UNO International Concert Series, which allowed us to bring artists from all over the world and also promote diversity through this international concert series. However, when somebody asks me, what do you think your greatest accomplishment is? The answer is always the same and it's very simple. My greatest accomplishment has been to establish strong, unique friendships and relationships with people in my school, with my faculty, with my staff colleagues, with my students, and with the members in the community. Relationships that change me, touch me deeply, and I will cherish for the rest of my life with the happiest thoughts and with the most incredible gratitude that you can imagine. I think that has been my greatest accomplishment.
You talked about enhancing your own leadership during this period. Can you talk more about that?
Yeah, this year, because of the pandemic, it was a very strange year. Obviously, I couldn't perform. I mean, I have not been able to travel for the last year for my own performances. I had several performances scheduled with symphonies. I was going to play Emperor Concerto. I was going to play Mendelssohn G minor piano concerto and travel all over. And I was going to go to a tour of China. None of that happened. Instead, and I'm glad it happened, I needed to be here so that we, with my colleagues, would really focus on the logistics of how we're going to operate during the times of the pandemic. And so that allowed me to get to know the institution more and also get to know my colleagues more, get to know myself more, how resilient we really are. So that brought me an incredible amount of growth, personally and professionally. As director of School of Music, and I'm sure this is the case for all of us, since we're all leaders of our lives, leaders of our families, leaders of everything that we are surrounded by. Just to understand how much we can be pushed to our limits and how we can develop patience, understanding the sense of shared success, flexibility, all of those things that we think we have them, but until you are put in a process where you are really tested, then you really truly understand what else you need to do in order to grow as a person, as a professional. So I learned a great deal about myself, how resilient I could be, how much I can take. And it has also served me to grow personally because it has brought me closer to the ones that I love. And the ones that I didn't know that I could be that close also has brought me closer to them as a compassionate leader, as an empathetic leader. So it's been a great time for learning for me.
If you were to pick one major disappointment out of the last 6 years in Omaha, what might that be?
Wow, that's such a great question. Not sleeping as much. I guess I've often thought, maybe I should be sleeping more. I don't have anything that I would say I would be really disappointed, William. My time here in Omaha has been nothing but exceptional. Even now, I mean, I guess I could say that there is one thing that I did not get accomplished, and I hope that my successor will consider doing that. I wanted to bring an international music festival to the Omaha area, the Omaha International Music Festival, which I had in my vision from day one. But I knew that for us to have this event, we need to have great facilities, great resources, and now we have them. But that, again, took a process. And now I think the infrastructure and all the right ingredients are in place. So I hope that my successor will take the initiative to bring an event like that to the city.
Is the university doing a search now for your replacement?
I believe they will be doing a national search. For next academic year, my guess is that they're going to appoint an interim director to be, again, on a temporary basis until they do a national search and identify their next leader. And if that is the case, I would assume that he or she will join the School of Music as the new director probably in fall of 2022. As I said, based on my experience and what I know from other institutions, and also right now the university is doing a search for a director of School of Communication, which is also part of the college. So if the similar procedure is used, which as I said, I guess it will be done, they should engage in a national search within the next few months to identify the next director, hopefully by early spring of 22.
Mm-hmm. And talk about how being a dean of a school of music will be different than your role as director here?
At UNO, as part of my job as director of School of Music, I'm the chief academic officer and artistic officer of the School of Music, but I report to the dean of the college and the dean of the College of Communication, Fine Arts and Media, and the dean reports to the provost. So in sense of the organizational structure, as me now being a dean of music, I report directly to the provost myself. So this is, again, structurally speaking, a big difference. Another difference is that, and this is also not usual, this is very unique of Stetson University, which is also very attractive to me, is that I will become part of the presidential cabinet. So I am going to be part of the cabinet with other vice presidents, deans, and the president, which is going to allow me to develop other administrative skills and talents that I hope to gain with the years.
And Stetson is private.
It's a private institution, exactly.
I assume that, of course, it gets tuition, but must also have grants and contracts and those kind of things also.
And fundraising, yes. So also, it's depending on tuition, but also on the generosity from the community and grant writing, for sure.
Will you be part of the raising funds machine?
100%. I have a passion for fundraising. I don't know if I would call it fundraising. It's just a part of an initiative to improve the quality of life in our community, to make our community a better place for our children, for ourselves, for the younger generation of artists. And engaging the community in understanding how music impacts our community, our society, how the healing power of music, especially during these times of pandemic. I love being part of those initiatives that allows us to develop resources that can help us develop the musical environment in our society.
How do you feel about some of the current or undercurrents regarding diversity, as well as, to some degree, reorienting our interest from some of the Eurocentric history that we have, the Beethovens, the Brahms, and so on, to maybe a different focus?
That's a great question. I was born in South America. I was born in Ecuador, and my entire life I have been exposed to situations where I look different. I mean, for those who don't know, I am short. I have dark skin. I have an accent. So I look and I sound different, often from the environments that I've been. When I moved to Nebraska, I read all about the history of the demographics and so on, and I didn't know what to expect. I knew there was not going to be such a large number of Hispanics like I used to be when I was in Texas. But when I came here, immediately I knew that Omaha, Nebraska, the whole state was very welcoming. And really, they have been extremely welcoming, and they're all interested in making everybody, no matter what you look like, where you come from, feel welcome. And that's an experience that I've had here in Omaha, Nebraska for the beautiful 5 years that I had. But as I said, I come from an environment that I tend to be different. When I was in Baltimore, again, I was a minority. In Texas, not so much. Here, yes. I think right now we live in an environment that diversity, being aware and to promote diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility is huge. It's really important. But let me make even that give you the bigger picture. Music itself has evolved during the years, William. Back in the 70s, 60s, you won the Leeds competition, the Tchaikovsky competition, the Cliburn, later in the 80s or so, you had a career secured. You didn't have to do anything else. Everybody knew who the latest winner of the Tchaikovsky competition was. Nowadays, nobody does. Nobody cares in a way. There are very few of the recent Cliburn winners who actually continue to have career. John Nakamatsu is an exception, for example. History active, Olga Kern as well. But I don't know who the last winner of the Leeds was. I don't. So that has changed. Back in the days, you had a recording contract. You had a secure career. Nowadays, I don't know when was the last time I bought a CD. You see? So things change happens. It's just a natural process of life, I would say, in the art as well. So as part of that, we as educators have the responsibility to give our students a set of skills and talents that before they didn't used to have. Now technology has always been with us, but now is with us to stay and for good. I mean, let me give you an example. Many months ago when the pandemic started, we had our first master class virtually done from our concert hall here. We had Spencer Meyer from New York give a master class. And it was amazing, to the point that I told myself, wow, I may do these master classes like this moving forward, not just because of the pandemic. We can stream the score on the screen, we can hear the professor through the speakers, whereas in usual master classes, you can barely hear what's going on stage. So there's been a lot of change. Now, going back to your question, I think one of the aspects that right now is a very important topic is the topic of diversity, equity, and inclusion. And anybody who is not fully aware and supportive of this topic really is living a reality that is not good, right? So I have experienced these moments in life where I have felt, as I said, different. So I know what it feels like, and I was given the opportunity. I was given the opportunities. I was invited to participate in opportunities to achieve my dreams, even though I looked different and thought different or whatever. And I want to do the same for others. I want to always create an environment that is supportive, inclusive, diverse, that promote all of these things, so that I can continue to do the legacy that the dean of Peabody did with me. When I finished my degree, you remember that? I said, I have no way to pay you. And he said, yes, do the same for somebody else when you are dean one day, and you will be. And he was right. So diversity is really important. It's crucial, creating also a sense of belonging. And this is something that is very, very high up on my list of things that I continue to learn more about, continue to educate myself about ways that I can promote very passionately for diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility.
As I recollect your recital last year at Spelman, you still rely heavily on, as they say, the dead white men as composers.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that's going to continue, given the demands, the reasonable demands for diversity? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's a great question, William. Let me give you an analogy. As director of School of Music, we have got different areas. When I came to UNO, there were some areas that were, that were doing a little better than others. But the truth is that we are all part of the same body. We are all part of the same team. If you win, I win. If you lose, I lose. And it's not just about, if you are in a soccer team, it doesn't matter if you have 2 or 3 or 4 Messis or 2 or 3 Ronaldos. If you have got a weak defense, that team is not going to work as well. So I really think it's a matter of making sure that everybody in the team is contributing to the purpose of you win, I win, shared success, right? So going back to your question, I think that it is important that we continue to preserve tradition, preserve the things that that have value to it. But we really need to be more deliberate about bringing to life and to the cultural scene those works by composers who are fantastic, who are amazing. I mean, let me take a look at. Let me mention Mozart's sister. I mean, from my readings and my research when I was student, she was as good as Mozart, from what I understand. She was a phenomenal pianist, incredible pianist, and some of that music that may have never come to life. It's fantastic that now we are starting to do that. Last time you heard me back in February, as I said, the pandemic was just about to hit. And with the pandemic, I think a lot of things changed. And some of those things, including technology and others, are here to stay with us. And I'm glad they are. I really are. So I look forward to seeing what comes next for me as well in this new stage. Me as pianists, I have got a tremendous advantage, is that the amount of repertoire there for piano is immense. I mean, I could, I could spend my whole life just focusing on one composer, and I'm constantly hearing from others who continue to write for piano. It's a very popular instrument. So looking forward to just understanding what else continues to come out there and how I can be an advocate and supporter of that. Let me share a couple of projects we're doing here at UNO within the keyboard area. Last semester we did a project where we performed an all-women composers concert, keyboard music. It's fascinating. I mean, the music that the students performed it was incredible. It's like, why have we not heard this before? It was a learning. Talking about personal and professional learning from me experience, I learned. Mm-hmm. And it's incredible because, we usually have the students write a paragraph about their piece, couldn't find almost nothing on some of these composers. So that's great. This semester we just finished and we're recording a project of a Black African American composers' music. And then again, as I said, the music is just, really high quality, really good, unknown works by composers that should really be known. So I think it's our duty, our responsibility to make sure that we continue to advocate for all of us to continue learning about what's out there and where we need to be performing ourselves. And I was just thinking about Bach, since you brought some of this tradition. Even the works of, not everybody, but even the works of Bach was not played so much when he was there. And his works were really discovered by Mendelssohn later in the 1800s. And I'm bringing this up because I always hear in this program on the radio, it says every music was new at some point. It just fascinates me. But this year, especially at UNO, we have had a lot of activity around diversity and inclusion. Right now, we are about to, also this week, actually on Friday, we have a live stream of underrepresented composers. And it's a project that has been done in collaboration between students in the string area and faculty. So, it's with us. And I cannot tell you how delighted I am that finally we're starting to bring to light some of this amazing music that has been there as a hidden gem.
Stetson, there are 4 or 5 different concentrations in the music area. Mm-hmm. Can you just talk briefly about those?
Sure. Yeah, so Stetson is mainly an undergraduate institution, undergraduate studies. They do have some graduate programs. I'm hoping that we will consider also some opportunities there once I am there and talk with my colleagues. I'm all about shared governance and shared vision. But there are great opportunities that we have also on that aspect. We do have degrees on education. We do have degrees in performance, undergraduate. We also have degrees where you can have a choice between 2 majors, a bachelor of music with an emphasis in business or others. So we also have that opportunity. And there is a great opportunity for an entrepreneurship program, which I'm looking forward in collaboration with the School of Business, which is in front of the School of Music. So it's a natural bridge that I'm hoping to connect once I am there. I think entrepreneurship is a huge field, as well as a field of technology. So they also have a technology program that I'm really interested in developing more. But my philosophy, as I said, is being able to grow together. Not just one area, that the area that's doing better, we do that, but all areas, I think it's important that we complement each other. I mean, look at education and performance, I think that if you want to be a really good music teacher, we believe also at UNO that you need to have a really good level of performance. Yes, you may not be playing or practicing as much, or the difficulty of the pieces that you learn, but the expectations about your artistry it should be really good. And for performance majors, we know that we also have a responsibility to teach. We need to be educators so that we can transmit the information, all the knowledge, all the opportunities that we're receiving, we can give it back to those coming behind us. So it's really important, again, to grow together with all the areas and helping one another, not just the ones that are doing better.
And just one final question. You recently received an award here in Nebraska?
Oh, I was nominated for an award. I don't know if I'll get it now that I'm leaving. But I was surprised in one of those days that were particularly challenging emotionally, with just so many things that need to be solved. And I remember getting home. I was pretty tired. And I opened this letter from an institution in Lincoln letting me know that I had been nominated and my nomination had been approved and reviewed by a board for leadership as one of the most relevant leaders and impactful leaders in the community. So, I'm supposed to hear sometime in summer 2021, but as I said, now that I'm leaving, I don't know if I'll be considered anymore. Maybe not.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
As they say, it's good to be nominated. That's wonderful.
Yeah, the fact that somebody's thinking out there for you, and as I said, that they review your nomination and approve it and vote on it. It was very meaningful to me.
Excellent.